Thanks, Florian, and thank you everybody for this very fruitful discussion today. I'm particularly very thrilled to be part of this community. My name is Tinashe from the City of Johannesburg. I am the head of research and policy in the Department of Social Development of the City of Johannesburg. Food security in the City of Johannesburg falls under social development, and hence I'm quite happy to participate today based upon that background. I've got a few remarks that I would want to share with you based upon what I've heard from different speakers. The first point that I want to highlight is on the role of local government or cities in urban agriculture. I heard one speaker alluding to that, and I just want to add my voice there to say that the cities or local government have got a role to play in urban agriculture. I think that part is not a debate. Urban agriculture, the fact that we prefix it as urban, it means it's happening in the spaces of municipalities, and therefore there ought to be a role played by the municipalities. I think the question that comes on board is that how should municipalities facilitate urban agriculture in a more sustainable way? So I think for me, what is key is the word sustainability in what we do. If we look at COVID-19 crisis, since the beginning of lockdown, particularly at level 5, you could see that many municipalities, metros and other smaller municipalities, will begin to scramble for distribution of food parcels. And it became a daily challenge for many municipalities. It was on TVs, on radios, we could see queues, endless queues, chaos at some point in time. But then the question is, what did we learn out of that? For me, this is actually clear indication that we needed to relook at sustainability in terms of the interventions that we have in this area of urban agriculture. The fact that we saw and witnessed all those long queues and in other cases, accusations of corruption and etc., tells us that we need to do more in terms of sustainability. Our interventions appear not to be that much sustainable. When Vuyan was talking, he actually gave us a very practical assessment on the ground of what is happening. He actually shared with us, when I was listening to him, the disjuncture between what is happening on the ground and the thinkers and those that are responsible for policy developments and review. So for me, really is to challenge this kind of a forum, a practice to say, how do we then turn all these rich debates into practical and impactful interventions on the ground, so that when Vuyani comes back next time, he can actually tell us a different story that speaks to exactly things that are changing on the ground. So for me, that disjuncture needs to be dealt with, and that comes to the issue of the policy reviews that has been spoken about by a number of speakers. Indeed, we need to improve our sustainability of interventions through relooking at our policies. Those that do not have policies in food security, they need to be developed at the local government level, at the municipal level. Those that do have them, like the City of Johannesburg, it is very important that those policies are reviewed in the context of the COVID-19 that we see today. For me, one of the key important issues around the policy reviews is it is an opportunity for us to leave a long-lasting legacy in terms of what we propose as the framework of how things should be done going forward. Because often, you know, the environment in which municipalities operate is very turbulent. Things change very fast. An example is our City of Johannesburg in particular. You've seen a lot of different changes in the administrations within the same term of office. And next year we're going to have local government elections again. And what does it tell us as practitioners or technocrats in this area? It tells us that we really need to come up with policies that are empirically based, that are scientifically proven that they can work, that we can defend irrespective of the changes in the political administration. So if you are to avoid any kind of a massacre from the political administrations, I think we ought to equip ourselves with well-grounded and researched policies going forward. And for metropolitans in particular, like Johannesburg, Cape Town, I presume, and Tshwane, for us, it's actually beyond just talking about policies for the next 3 to 5 years. It is also important that we mainstream the issues of urban agriculture and food security into our growth and development strategies. Normally, our growth and development strategies are more overarching and are more futuristic, looking beyond just 5 years to 10, 20 years to come. Try to match our approaches with also what is happening, benchmarking with the demands internationally or globally. What is it that we see ourselves as cities going to 2030 in line with the NDP or in line with the Sustainable Development Goals and all those things? They are very important to mainstream as a pillar within our city strategies. Another point that I wanted to raise is for this community of practice to think. I'm just pondering some questions also going forward in terms of future discussions. How do we improve the interface between political administrations, you know, the political offices and the executive? It's very key that we all move with the same vision and the same goal so that we do not antagonize ourselves. And often we see that those kind of visions from the political side and the administration, they don't often concur, and then that friction on itself creates problems in the implementation of some of the policies and programs to deal with food security. Gareth spoke about the institutional arrangements that we need to also consider. Where should food security within local government reside? Look, for an example, the City of Johannesburg. We've got food security in social development department. What does it mean for the actions that we then propose and execute? It will be different from an arrangement, for example, where food security is located, maybe in a department to do with economic development. And the economic development is more about sustainability, it's more about agriculture as a business. In social development, it's more from the vulnerable and poverty intervention. If you look at
Tinashe, sorry, you've been muted by accident. Apologies, I was trying to mute somebody else. But we need to conclude, but your inputs have been extremely valuable. But please, a concluding sentence perhaps.
Okay, so just in less than a minute, we need to look at the institutional arrangements. That is the location of food security units in municipalities. We need to look at access to markets. How do we organize our small farmers so that they become competitive on the markets? And how do we also diversify to capitalize on certain niche markets? Like in the City of Johannesburg, we're already looking at exploring organic farming as one of the things that we can promote among our small farmers. And lastly, for me, a very important point, program manager, is when we talk about urban agriculture and food security, we often emphasize a lot about the poor. We approach it from the poverty point of view, but I think COVID has actually taught us something, that the issue of food security affects the whole, all the classes of people. Particularly, we've seen that when people started losing jobs and then they go to UIF and claim money from the UIF, those are some of the people that have been excluded prior to COVID when you speak about intervention. So I'm actually just proposing to this community to say that let's look at it beyond the poor. Let's look at it to include also the vulnerable people. They may not be poor, but they are vulnerable in the sense that their probability of regressing into poverty, given any shock, is very high. And we've got COVID today, and we've seen people actually regressing, falling back into poverty. So just to look at it in that broader sense will be very useful, program manager. But let me stop there. Thank you.